Hi, so today we will talk about saponins. So I have been doing a series of videos about anti-nutrients. I have a general video about anti-nutrients, so I invite you to go watch it. I will put the link up there. Um, and I have made other videos about other anti-nutrients. I have made a video about oxalates, about phytic acid, about lectins. So today it's about saponins. So before we start, I invite you to go watch my other videos on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is dedicated to natural health and particularly gut health, how to heal your gut naturally. I have a course on my website, thecandidaslayer.com, about how to heal your gut naturally. So I put the link under this video in the description box. So let's start about saponins. What are saponins? So the name comes from the Latin sapo, that means soap. So saponins form like a foam, like when you use soaps. So that's what you can see on the picture on the right. So saponins are glycosides. So what are glycosides? Glycosides are sugars attached to another molecule. And for the case of saponins, the other molecule is a lipophilic molecule that is a steroid or a triterpene. Okay, and some triterpenes are precursors of steroids. Okay, so this is very important to know about saponins. They have an action on your hormones because parts of the molecular structure of saponins are very similar to your hormones. They have steroids and triterpenes that are precursors of steroids. So we will detail that point in the next slides. So having a part which is fine for water and another for lipids explains why they act preferentially on cell membranes. So to sum up, saponins act like soap and it will dissolve particularly your cell membranes. Okay, so it is an anti-nutrient that forms foam, as I was saying, when exposed to liquids such as digestive juices. So if you eat saponin-rich foods, it will make this like foam, like soap foam in your digestive system, and it's like you eat some soap. So it's not very good in some cases. We will detail that in the next slides. Where do we find saponins? We find saponins in all parts of plants, so not all plants. We will see which ones. So in the seeds and all part of the seeds, not only in the hull of the seeds, but also in the endosperm and also in the germ. Okay, so in all parts of the seeds, in the leaf, in the roots of plants, etc. You can also find saponins in marine animals, like in plankton, in sea cucumber, in starfish, in sponges, etc. So what are the functions of saponins? So they are anti-nutrients that have the function to irritate the digestive system of predators, especially cold-blooded animals. Okay, so this is the general main function of all anti-nutrients. Anti-nutrients are protective chemical warfare made by plants to protect themselves because they don't want to be eaten. Saponins are particularly toxic to fish. Okay, so they also protect the plants from fungal and bacterial infections, and their chemical structure is similar to steroid hormones, as I was saying. So similar to estrogens, to cortisone, to testosterone. This is something very important to understand about saponins. They will act on your hormones. Wild yams contain steroid saponins, from which the first birth control pill was made. Saponins act on hormones, as I was saying. They are also used to make corticosteroids. Okay, so that's when you take, that's what your doctor gives you when you have inflammation in your body. They give you steroids. Okay, it will stop inflammation. So that's part of what can do saponins. Saponins are used to make the beer more frothy. If you have lots of foam in your beer, be aware that it's because of the saponins. It is used to fish. Some traditional cultures, they still use plants rich in saponins for fishing. And they take these plants, they put in the water where they know there's fish, and all the fish die or get paralyzed, and then it's very easy for them to just harvest all the fish. Saponins are used as detergent, okay, because it makes soap. To wash your clothes, you can use saponin rich plants. We will see that in the next slides. It is used as an emulsifier because it allows the water soluble part and the oils to come together and blend properly. And it is also an adjuvant in vaccines. So we'll see a little more details about that in the next slides. So why is it used as an adjuvant in vaccines? It's because it makes your body react very strongly. Why? Because when it's injected, it's a poison. So, which foods are rich in saponins? Nightshades are particularly rich in saponins, so be careful with this family, with the nightshades family. I have talked about it in every video about antinutrients because nightshades are very rich in antinutrients, in lectins, in saponins, and many other antinutrients. So nightshades are tomatoes, potatoes, bell peppers, goji berries, eggplants, and so on. So be very careful with this family. If you have a sensitive gut, it's better to avoid this family until you heal your gut. There are a lot of saponins in legumes, especially in chickpeas and especially in aquafaba. So this is the picture I've put on the right. So vegans often use aquafaba, that is the water in, when you open a can of chickpeas, there's this water. So they use this water, they whip it to make, to copy, the egg whites. When they are whipped, it forms this thick foam. And so they copy that with aquafaba and chickpea water. Okay, and so they are very happy because they can make desserts and meringues and stuff like that without using any egg whites. Okay, but so this aquafaba is full of antinutrients, full of saponins. That's why it forms this thick white foam. Okay, that's saponin. But not only this aquafaba, this chickpea water is very rich in lectins, in phytic acid, and other antinutrients. So it's not a good idea, especially if you do that every day or regularly. It's not a good idea to, eat a liquid full of antinutrients. So you have lots of saponins also in soybeans, in peanuts, but generally in all legumes. Oh, by the way, so to come back about aquafaba, people who have egg allergies or egg intolerances, it was my case, they think it's a good idea to stop eating eggs and to replace egg whites with aquafaba. Again, it's not a good idea because if you have egg allergy or egg intolerance, it means that your gut is damaged, and you will damage it even more with this aquafaba full of antinutrients, because antinutrients, they hurt your gut. Okay, so be careful and don't do that if you have a sensitive gut. So there are lots of saponins in pseudo grains like amaranth, buckwheat, quinoa, and millet. Especially in quinoa and millet, you will see if you rinse quinoa or millet, there will be this white foam forming quite quickly. Okay. In oats also, oats is rich in saponins. Spinach, so there are not many vegetables that are rich in saponins except spinach. So be careful with spinach. Spinach is also very rich with oxalates. I have a video about oxalates. I will put the link up there. There's saponins in onions and in garlic, in herbs like thyme, rosemary, and other aromatic herbs, in agave, in tea, in fenugreek, in licorice, in ginseng. So why do saponins cause issues? Why can they cause issues? It's mainly, they will cause issues mainly if you have a raw vegetarian or a raw vegan diet. Why? It's because vegetarians and vegans, they eat much more plant foods, than regular people, than people who have like an omnivore diet. Okay, of course, they will eat, yeah, like vegans only eat plant foods. So of course, they will have a diet much richer in anti-nutrients compared to an omnivore person. And raw, especially raw, because when you eat raw, you don't deactivate anti-nutrients, because many anti-nutrients uh, are deactivated by cooking. We will see that in the next slides. And having leaky gut and dysbiosis. Again, because anti-nutrients hurt your gut in some ways. And if you have and also if you have already leaky gut, so it will worsen your leaky gut. Also, if you have leaky gut, molecules can pass through your gut membrane into your bloodstream, and in some cases it can be very bad, like for saponins or lectins. If you have saponins or lectins getting in your bloodstream, you will have lots of problems. And when you have dysbiosis, why is it a problem with saponins and other anti-nutrients? Is because your gut microbiome um, does many things, and amongst these things, they can deactivate some of the anti-nutrients. So if you have dysbiosis, if you don't have a good gut microbiome, then the anti-nutrients you eat won't get deactivated. Okay, and here I have put different pictures of different animals and their digestive system. So this is the digestive system of a cow on the right, digestive system of a chicken, digestive system of the rabbit, and digestive system of humans. You see that cows have 4 stomachs and a big cecum. Chickens have a crop, have a big cecum. Rabbits have also a very big cecum. Humans don't have a crop, don't have 4 stomachs, and they don't have a big cecum. We have a tiny cecum. So the cecum is where the plant foods get fermented. So that's where it gets digested. Okay, basically, that's where the bacteria in the cecum will deactivate the anti-nutrients and digest the plant food to make energy, to make fatty acids, and so on. So we have a very tiny cecum. We have only 1 stomach. We don't have a crop. So we are not adapted to eat lots of plant foods. We can eat some because we still have a cecum, even if it's tiny. We have a cecum, and we also have quite of a big colon. That is also, another part of the digestive system that is dedicated to to digest plant foods. But so we can eat some plant foods, but not a lot. Okay. And we don't have a crop. The crop is especially designed to digest seeds. Okay. So, why can saponins hurt you? Some saponins are considered as always toxic, like solanine, that is a saponin in nightshades. Okay, and other saponins are, on the opposite, considered as antioxidant and therefore very beneficial. Okay, so you need to understand that there are many types of saponins, and it's the same for lectins. I made a video about lectins. So many types of saponins. Some saponins are really toxic. Some saponins are not that toxic. So it's not all black and white. It's never that simple. Okay. So why saponins can hurt you? Because saponins can irritate your digestive system. It can cause or aggravate your leaky gut, and therefore you can have autoimmune diseases. Okay, because autoimmune diseases are caused mainly because of leaky gut. Saponins can reach the bloodstream if you have leaky gut and damage the red blood cells. This is the main problem with saponins. They destroy the membrane of your red blood cells. That's what we call hemolytic effect. They have hemolytic effects. They destroy the red blood cells. So they are very toxic if they get injected in the bloodstream. So we saw that they use saponins as an adjuvant in vaccines. So okay, it's not injected directly in your bloodstream, but it's still injected in your body. So, in my opinion, that's not a great thing. Saponins act as detergents, so they dissolve cell membranes. They should be avoided during pregnancy as it can lead to miscarriages by stimulating uterine blood flow. So be careful if you're pregnant, don't eat too much saponins. Saponins can be hepatotoxic, it means that they can hurt your liver. They inhibit some digestive enzymes like the pancreatic lipase. They block the absorption of fat by inhibiting this enzyme. They bind to cholesterol also. They bind to zinc, so they are anti-nutrients. They prevent the absorption of nutrients. They can decrease your libido. They can cause ovulation dysfunction because they act on the hormones in different ways by binding to cholesterol, by stopping your body from absorbing fat, by binding to zinc, and also because they have they are steroids basically. A study shows a significant drop in total testosterone levels after consuming 7 grams per day of glyceric acid for 4 days. So that's quite impressive, I think. So glyceric acid is the active ingredient, we can say, in licorice. That's the main thing that has that gives the medicinal properties to licorice. Okay, so it drops testosterone levels, in some extent. Of course, 7 grams per day is a lot, but you need to be aware of that. Symptoms. The symptoms you can get from saponin toxicity: stomach aches, diarrhea, nausea, loss of appetite, vomiting, deficiencies, food intolerances, autoimmune diseases, hemolysis, joint pain, hypertension, especially with licorice, decreased libido. But saponins can also be beneficial. Okay, it's actually, there's more good than bad in saponins, actually. You will see why. So they act as expectorants. Okay, there are many medicinal herbs that are medicinal mainly because of the saponins in these herbs. It's the case of licorice I was talking about, but not only. There are many other plants that are used for this effect. I will talk about that in the next slide. So expectorant properties. Why? Because saponins cause irritation of the mucous membrane, and by doing so, it stimulates your body to produce more mucus. Okay, so it helps with the excretion of mucus. Okay, so it helps your body detoxifying. Saponins are also diuretic. It is the same process. It's a process of irritation of the renal mucosa. Licorice glycyrrhizin is the active medicinal ingredient. It is a triterpene saponin. It is anti-ulcer. It promotes the secretion of mucus in your stomach. It stimulates cell proliferation, and it destroys H. pylori, that is said to be the main cause of stomach ulcers. Saponins have antibacterial, antifungal, spermicidal, anti-tumor properties because saponins destroy the membrane of these cells. Okay, they are antiviral, they are antioxidant, they are anti-cancer, they are hypolipidemic, as we said before. They stop the absorption of fat in certain extent. They increase the absorption of proteins in the digestive system, and this is quite interesting. And then I read a study, very interesting. It's a study on chickens, and it shows, so they gave chickens saponins, and it shows that saponins dramatically increase the size of intestinal villi, increasing therefore nutrient absorption. So this is very interesting because we said before that saponin can damage your gut membrane, but it can actually do also the opposite. So again, it depends on the dosage, and it depends also on the type of saponins. So this is very interesting because it can actually heal your gut. It is anti-hypercalciuria, so that means that it prevents your body from absorbing too much calcium, and therefore it protects your body from kidney stones, but many other things, because there are many issues caused by too much calcium in the body. It is anti-cholesterol. We already said that. It is hepatoprotective. It protects your liver. So again, this is something interesting. We saw that it can be toxic to your liver, but it can protect your liver too. So again, it depends on the dosage and it depends on the type of saponins. It is an antidote against acute lead poisoning. Sorry. So I think it's very interesting. And it's the same thing for some other nutrients. We saw with phytic acids that it can prevent lead poisoning. Saponins are anti-inflammatory and anti-edema. They have contraceptive effects, as we saw. They act on your hormones, and they are anti-stress. They are adaptogens. So here we can see that. So there are many medicinal plants that are rich in saponins, and they have the properties we just said. So soapwort, sarsaparilla, Chiaja saponaria. I'm not sure how to pronounce this one. So these three first ones, they are very, very, very rich in saponins. They are mostly used as detergent to wash clothes and stuff like that. But in small quantities, they are also used as medicinal herbs, but in small quantities because they really have lots of saponins. So they are used especially for bronchitis and these problems where you have too much mucus. Okay, they help the body to get rid of the mucus. Licorice is a great medicinal plant. I love licorice. I recommend it for so many things. So it's very beneficial if you have a sore throat, if you have bronchitis, if you have stomach ulcers. It's really, really good because it helps detoxify, and also it has like some kind of mucilages that soothe your digestive system. Of course, don't take licorice, or be very careful if you have heart problems, if you have hypertension and stuff like that. Ginseng also is a very famous medicinal plant that is rich in saponins. Jiaogulan, that is called also herb of immortality in Chinese medicine, is also rich in saponins. Mullein is rich in saponins. It's a plant that we use here in France, that we have been using for, I don't know, hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, especially for people who have, like bronchitis and lung issues. But not only, it's used also for ear problems. Fenugreek, also rich in saponins, and fenugreek seeds are medicinal. Yams, as we saw, rich in saponins, was used to make the first birth control pill. Horse chestnuts also are very rich in saponins, especially isin. That is a type of saponin that is anti-inflammatory and has vasoconstrictor properties. So horse chestnut is a very common, very known medicinal herb that is used for blood circulation issues. Like for when you have blood issues, like generally like you have hemorrhoids or stuff like that. um Again, it's for the circulation of your blood. So horse chestnut will help mainly because of the saponins. Yerba mate, that is consumed like daily in some Latin countries, Latin America, very rich in saponins, and it is considered as an adaptogen. So what are adaptogen plants? So they are adaptogen plants, and there are adaptogen herbs and adaptogen fungi. Like I like the ashwagandha. So ashwagandha is an adaptogen plant that is part of the nightshades family, and it's rich in saponins, and it's an adaptogen. So what is an adaptogen? An adaptogen is a herb or fungi that modulate your hormones. So it's mainly used for your hormones, like your stress hormones, but not only for your other hormones also, but for your stress hormones like Eleuterococcus, like ashwagandha, like holy basil. They all have lots of saponins, and the saponins are part of the reasons why they have these adaptogen properties. So adaptogen means that when you don't have enough of some hormones, it will help your body making more. If you have too much of these hormones, it will help your body to make less. So that's why it's adaptogen. It works in intelligence with your body. It works together with your body. This is the magical thing about herbs. That's why I love herbal remedies. It's because they act together with your body. They resonate with your body. They magically, can rebalance your body. Whereas chemical drugs, they don't do that. Chemical drugs, they are very dumb, dumb drugs. They destroy this, they destroy that. They don't act together with your body. I don't know if I'm very clear in what I'm saying, but there's something, that resonates between your body and herbs. Your body will, herbs will, stop the growth of some bacteria and enhance the growth of other bacteria that your body needs. Whereas, chemicals don't do that. Anyway, so yeah, and adaptogen fungi, you have like reishi, you have like I forgot the other names, but there are many famous, Japanese fungi that are used as adaptogens. And yeah, you can make soap using saponins from soapwort, quinoa, horse chestnut, common ivy, etc. So, as we said, it depends on the quantity. If you eat tons of saponins, you will have issues. If you eat, plants that have some saponins from time to time, it won't be an issue. But if you eat, saponin-rich foods every day in large quantities, yes, you need to do the maximum to eliminate saponins. So, like, for example, if you eat millet or quinoa every day, you will need to prepare them correctly. So one first option to eliminate saponins from your diet is to eat refined grains, because, so as we saw, saponins are in all parts of the plant, and it's in all parts of the grains. It's not only in the hull, it's also in the endosperm, in the germ. So, but if you remove the hull, you will remove some some saponins. So yeah, eat refined grains, you will have less saponins. Be aware that they are water soluble, so they will get dissolved in water. They resist digestion, so okay, they won't get broken down by your digestive juices. Okay, they only get breakdown in some part of them by your gut flora. So the best way to eliminate saponins is to rinse very well your grains, your pseudo grains and so on, and your legumes and so on. So rinsing is very important. Look at the picture on the right. When you rinse your grains, you have this white foam forming. This white foam is the saponins. Okay, so rinse several times, then soak overnight. Then you discard the water, you rinse again several times until you don't have this white foam anymore. So rinsing, soaking, cooking are the best processes to remove saponins. Germination and fermentation, eliminate some saponins, but not that much. Okay. So yeah, and cooking. So saponins are sensitive to heat. Don't forget to discard the white foam when you cook your millet or quinoa or legumes. Discard the white foam that forms on the top. And yeah, steaming is not as effective as boiling. And your gut microbiome also is important. If you have a healthy gut, your gut microbiome will eliminate a part of the saponins. And how to eliminate saponins is, another way is to have a good diet. Don't, like, as we said, like, if you are a vegan and vegetarian, you will eat much more saponins and other anti-nutrients. So it's not, the best diet at all. How is it in traditional cultures? Traditional African cultures rinse millet very well several times. They soak it for at least 8 hours, usually overnight, and then they cook it. Okay. So here is a picture of Weston Price and his book Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. So I love this book and I recommend everybody to read this book because it shows that our ancestors knew how to do these things. They knew how to deactivate, anti-nutrients in plant foods. But a part of that, it's a very interesting book. Anyway, I won't spend too much time talking about this book, but I have a video. I will put the link there. It's an old footage of about Western Pride. So go watch it, or even better, read this book. Cultures that consume a lot of legumes always remove the white foam that forms during cooking, as I just said. The Kubu tribe in Sumatra cultivate the most toxic species of yams. Why? Because it has several advantages. They cultivate these yams because the other tribes are not interested in stealing these yams because it's too toxic, and the wild animals won't eat these yams either because it's too toxic. But they do the whole process to deactivate the anti-nutrients. They do a long process of soaking, fermenting, and cooking to remove the toxins in the tuber. So it makes these yams edible. So again, we don't have the digestive system as good as cows and rabbits and so on to deactivate anti-nutrients, but we have a brain, and we can copy this digestive system. We can copy these tools outside of our body. So this is where us humans dominate other species, is because of our brains. We can do many things that we could not do if we only had this body without a brain. But thanks to our brain, we can do so many things that we could not do otherwise. So yeah, this is all for today. As I was saying in the beginning of this video, I have a course on how to heal your gut naturally. The link will be under the video in the description box. So go visit my website, thecandidaslayer.com, for more information. And I see you in the next video. Bye bye.